Hello everyone! Ships doing TikTok trends. Never thought I would write something like this, but hey, here we are. And it's actually quite fun, I must say. I am enjoying these short challenges, I really do. But that's not to say there isn't going to be a little angst sprinkled into it, just like we like it. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who subscribe and watch these videos. You're keeping this channel alive and going. Thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy. Who wants to get into another trend challenge? Rhetorical question, you all participate. I don't like the sound of this after the last challenge I did. What happened? Don't ask. Went bad for you? Could be worse, TBH, but I don't want to remember it either. Sounds scary. So what's this about? I want to make another trend, but I wasn't sure which one, so I'll give you a choice. Is it going to cause issues in relationships? It shouldn't. What do you mean by shouldn't? Well, something can always go wrong, but it's improbable. That doesn't sound very reassuring, but go on. Okay, so I'm sure you've seen it around. It's the would you peel an orange for me, and to look like you're going for your partner's phone/food when they have both in hand to see how they will react. That's surprisingly mild. And it actually sounds like hurt-proof thing. Unless your partner refuses to peel that orange or guards his phone. Why did you have to say that? Now I'm worried. Your man would bring you the stars if you just asked. I think that's the case with all of our partners, isn't it? Pretty much. So it's just a sweet little challenge for you. I see. Alright, I suppose it should be okay. Are we doing both? No, you can choose which one you think will get you a better reaction. Or depending on your situation. Sounds good. Alright, anyone against? Doesn't look like it. Awesome. Go ahead then, test your boyfriend's love for you. Why do you have to make it sound so ominous all of a sudden? Shush, it's going to be fine. Hopefully. Shigeru decided to go through a path of the least resistance for his challenge, and choose the orange one. For the sake of his mental capacity, and because he didn't want to wait until Kentaro would sit down with food and phone. And also because he was, deep down, sure he wouldn't survive if Kentaro forbid him from seeing his phone. Of course, he had no reason to doubt his husband, but the what-if was firmly settled in his mind since Love mentioned it. Did he feel bad for it? Yes, very. Did it change anything about his decision? Not really. It just made him add more chicken into Kentaro's bento as a silent apology. What did I do to deserve such nice treatment today? Nothing. I just wanted you to have enough energy for practice and workout. Are you sure it's not to make me heavy so I can jump on blocks? That's what you think of me? Unbelievable. And here I thought you'll be happy. Kentaro raised a dubious eyebrow at him, but then just shook his head and leaned in for a kiss. Shigeru all but melted under the touch, his heart skipping a beat like always when they kissed, even after almost 7 years of being together. Alright, I'll believe you for now. What do you mean for now? You should believe me all the time. Nah, I would set myself up for a disaster if I did. Gasping in offense, Shigeru punched his shoulder and turned back to the counter to make his own bento, much to Kentaro's amusement. He grumbled when a pair of strong arms wrapped around his waist from behind, the short stubble on Kentaro's chin scratching his shoulder. Come on, you don't believe everything I say either. And that's fine. I just need you to trust me the same way I trust you. Sweet talker. A soft huff of love behind him made his heart flutter. In the end, Kentaro was right. It wasn't about believing everything. It was about trusting in the important moments. Thank you for the lunch. I'll get going, but I'll be home at about 5 this time. Okay. Oh, actually, before you go. He grabbed the already prepared orange, handing it to Kentaro with a sheepish smile. Could you peel this for me? Furrowing his brow, Kentaro took the orange, his eyes darting between it and Shigeru. You can't peel it yourself? I can, but you know I have brittle nails. It's difficult to peel with them. Seriously? What are you, a child? Despite his words, he was already halfway through peeling the orange when Shigeru turned around. A literal baby would peel an orange. With a last grumble, he handed the peeled orange back to Shigeru, stopping only for another kiss before he rushed to get his things, leaving grinning Shigeru alone in the kitchen. The last thing on Shirabu's mind was to do a challenge, no matter how mild or sweet it was. The only thing he could think of were the test results on the paper in his hand and Sakura's sudden relapse to worse. For more than one reason. Frustrated and desperate over the fate, he folded his head in his palms, biting his lip to stop the groan already halfway out of his mouth. He jinxed it. He really did. He should have known better than that. And now he couldn't even be properly happy about the fact that Sami was back home, which just made him feel worse. What kind of boyfriend was he if he couldn't enjoy having his partner back home after 3 long months? Not a good one, that was for sure. He startled when a warm hand covered his, carefully pulling it away from his face. Sami was watching him with the familiar mix of concern and love, twisting the invisible dagger in his guts. I'm sorry. For what exactly, he was unsure. Perhaps for everything. To that, Sami shook his head and pushed a paper to him. What's wrong? You can tell me, I'll listen. And burden you with it when you are supposed to rest and heal? No way. It's just... one of my patients isn't doing well right now. Sorry, I should separate work and private life, I know. Sami clicked his tongue, taking the paper back to write some more on it before returning it to Shirabu. That's nothing to apologize for. You feel for your patients, that's a good thing. I would be more worried if you didn't care. That's not why I said it. I know. I'm just saying you shouldn't apologize for it. I understand. I just want to help. Shirabu's throat tightened. He would have never expected Sami could get any more selfless than he was before. And yet, here he was now, putting Shirabu's feelings and patience above himself again. Even worse, it was only now that Shirabu saw it clearly. Now, when his boyfriend was at his most vulnerable, and yet still found a place in his heart to put others first, despite Shirabu snapping at him half of the time when everything was alright. He really didn't deserve Sami, at all. He sighed, his heart aching. Could you peel an orange for me? Please. That would help a lot. Sami blinked in confusion before a soft smile curled his lips. He then got up and headed to the kitchen, returning soon with pieces of peeled orange on a little plate. And Shirabu could about cry. Thank you. You're a savior. Anything for you. Shirabu knew. And as much as it made him fall even deeper in love with Sami, it scared him about the same amount. Chica, stop fretting around and come sit down. It's going to start soon. Enoshita would like to chuckle at that, if only because Tanaka's pouting voice was the most adorable thing he knew, but his swirling thoughts didn't allow him to. It was strange. Both challenges were simple and pretty sweet, so why did he start to second-guess everything since agreeing to it? It didn't make any sense, and yet his stomach was now sinking deeper with every second he thought about the possible outcomes. He decided to go for the phone/food challenge, mostly because it was an easier option since they were about to watch TV with snacks anyway. But also because he was worried. Oranges weren't the easiest fruit to peel, and while most of Tanaka's strength was back already, he didn't want to risk knocking down his spirit in case they had some particularly stubborn oranges. Which, however, led him down an overthinking spiral. Chica. Yeah, I'm coming. What are you even doing there? We already washed the dishes. Sighing softly, Enoshita smiled, arranging the last melon pan on the plate before he headed into Tanaka's awaiting embrace. As expected, Tanaka's face immediately brightened like 100 suns when he spotted the melon pans. Did you buy all of those for me? Yeah, I thought you deserve a treat after the whole week. A second later, he was squished in Tanaka's arms, surrounded by warmth that had no equal. Thank you, darling. Even though the biggest treat is to have you. Oh? Yeah, nothing beats hugging you. That's the best reward ever. Enoshita looked away, feeling his cheeks heating up. It wasn't the first time he had heard Tanaka say that or similar, but his mind still didn't want to believe it, even after all this time. He was sure Tanaka knew that, which was why he kept repeating it all the time. Just like never forgetting to say love you before Enoshita left for work. Chica? Huh? Oh, sorry. He settled more comfortably by Tanaka's side, instinctively laying his head on his boyfriend's shoulder. It was just a small thing, but it meant the world to him after all those months spent mostly apart. And judging by how firmly Tanaka's arm secured him in place, he wasn't the only one thinking like that. He waited for some time while they watched the series, waiting for the right moment to reach over. Then, when the episode got into a more boring part, he collected all the courage he had and reached in the direction of both Tanaka's phone and the plate with melon pans. He was prepared to have his hand slapped away, but instead, Tanaka turned to him with a curious hum. Do you want a piece? You should have said so, I would give you one. Before Enoshita could say anything, a melon pan landed in his palm. Ignoring the pressure building behind his eyes with the gesture, Enoshita smiled at him, leaving a kiss on his cheek. Thank you. I was actually going for your phone. I want to look something up. Ah, I see. The phone felt a bit heavy in Enoshita's hand, but the lighter his heart became. He snuggled back into Tanaka's embrace, scrolling on the phone for a moment before going back to watching the TV screen, contentedly nibbling on the bread. Apparently, he had nothing to worry about after all. Despite the simple premise of both of the challenges, Sakusa found it surprisingly difficult to catch Atsumu in a convenient moment that day. He even already bought the oranges he needed since trying to reach for Atsumu's food would probably end up with his hand pierced by the nearest pair of chopsticks. But so far, he wasn't in luck. Can you sit down for 5 minutes? You are like a shark today. Atsumu grinned at him but didn't seem to heed his words and continued on whatever it was that he was doing. I'll take it as a compliment, Ame. Not everyone can say they are cool like sharks. That's not what I meant by it. Nah, can't hear your grumbling. Sakusa clicked his tongue, torn between amusement, embarrassingly enough, and annoyance. In the end, for the sake of his own mental health, he decided to go with slight amusement. After all, this and similar shenanigans were one of the reasons why he wanted to date Atsumu in the first place, as much as he would be caught dead before admitting it out loud. However, he still didn't get to do the challenge, and it was getting late already. He really didn't want to drag it into another day since he had different things to worry about. And so he decided to play on the feels a little bit. Atsumu. He intentionally chose to make his voice sound pleading, something he knew Atsumu would hear on. Sure enough, Atsumu rushed out of the hallway not even 2 seconds later. What is it? Something happened? Under normal circumstances, Sakusa would feel bad for playing dirty, but this wasn't anything life-changing. It was just an orange, 5 minutes of Atsumu's time. It was fine. No, I just... do you think you could peel an orange for me? Please. An orange? Yeah, from the ones we bought today. He nodded towards the net with oranges. Atsumu followed his gaze, understanding flashing over his face. Oh, I see. Germs, right? Sure, give me a bit. He carefully washed the orange and his hands before cutting the skin open, diligently peeling every last bit of it away. Sakusa watched his doing in silence, but with growing fondness, his heart fluttering when Atsumu put the pieces in front of him. Here you go, my dear. Sakusa almost choked on air, his cheeks flaring up. Still, he managed to lure a smile on his lips. Thank you. Anytime. Do you need anything else, or can I go finish my stuff? Your stuff? Yeah, I'm working on something right now. As surprising as it was, Sakusa decided not to press further. Atsumu calling it something instead of specifics meant it was a secret, and while Sakusa was curious, he knew he wouldn't get anything out of Atsumu at this point. Everything had its time. He could be patient. Okay, I'll be here if you need help. In a rare turn of events, Lev could actually do either of the challenges this time since Yaku, quite unexpectedly, happened to arrive to Japan just a day prior and was now lounging with Lev on the couch. If it was during any other time, Lev would be ecstatic. Well, he was happy, of course, but something just seemed off. He couldn't put a finger on it, but since the last challenge he did, Yaku seemed tense. Perhaps even a bit more than after the last argument they had. He felt it through the phone, and even more now that Yaku was actually next to him. Though maybe tense was a wrong word to call it. Anxious may be the right one in this case. But why though? Nothing happened, right? And I told him the ring was just a challenge. So what's going on? What aren't you telling me? Unfortunately, he couldn't ask Yaku that. The only response he would get that way would be, "It's fine, don't worry about it." And Lev wasn't stupid to accept that. He glanced at Yaku just as the libero put his phone down and picked up the bag with his favorite candy again. Sensing an opportunity, he gently nudged Yaku's side. You haven't told me why you arrived so suddenly yet. Did something happen? There it was again. The strange, nervous energy almost emitting from Yaku whenever he asked a similar question. No, nothing happened. Not really. I just thought I could make use of the 3 days and come visit you. Did you not want that? No. I am happy you are here. Don't get me wrong. It's just... you usually called beforehand, you know. Clenching his jaw, Yaku leaned back into pillows, his fingers twitching around the candy bag. I wanted to surprise you this time around. Is that a good idea right now? I mean, we still don't know what happened with the stalker. Even if they didn't let themselves be hurt for a while, it doesn't mean that... Okay, I get it. It was a stupid idea. I'm dumb. There. Content. Lev blinked in surprise, baffled by Yaku's reaction. Though, judging by Yaku's widened eyes and stuttered apology, he wasn't the only one surprised. Sighing, he resisted the urge to ask further and instead reached over Yaku towards his phone. It wasn't anything unusual. They had shared phones before when one needed to look stuff up or similar. No big deal. Yet, the moment his fingers touched the phone this time, Yaku smacked his hand away and grabbed the phone, putting it out of Lev's reach. Mori... Don't! Please. What's going on? Please, I don't understand. There's nothing to understand, just... leave it be, okay? For now at least. Lev's heart sank. Okay. He bit hard on his lip, trying his hardest to not crumble into his seat. Tension gathered in the air, reminding him of the time 2 months ago after their argument almost tore their relationship apart. Despair washed over him at that memory, his brain trying in vain to find an explanation, an answer for what was going on with Yaku right now. It only took a minute or so for the invisible pressure to become too much. He excused himself to the bedroom, only faintly hearing Yaku's hitched breath behind his back before the door closed between them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Fun stuff is happening, eh? Not only with Eva Oi, but with Yakulev now too. And... well, I'm not going to be spoiling anything, but don't worry, you will learn soon what's happening between them, actually in the next challenge I will be doing. Which is also going to be for Eva Oi and for the rest of the crew that's currently dealing with some issues. You can actually kinda guess where I'm going with Yakulev if you've been following Haikyuu news in the last month, but that's all I'm going to say to it. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.